Can the St. Louis Blues defeat the Washington Capitals?
Hey, this is Brayden Chen. Subscribe to Locked On Blues.
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome back to Locked On Blues. I am your host of Locked On Blues, Haley Taylor Simon, talking to you all things about our St. Louis Blues here in the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today, the St. Louis Blues take on the Washington Capitals. Okay, the Blues, they just came off of a dub. That is right. They defeated the Oilers, and they got 2 points out of that game. So we are looking to maybe extend the good mojo right now, but on the road. Why should you believe? And I feel like this is a question that I want to propose to a couple people because this is about fandom, man. And then final predictions heading into tonight. We have a lot to talk about on today's episode, but I want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. I hope every single person is having a great day today. I know I am. I got all my Blues gear on because we are coming into this game as winners, which I didn't get to say a lot so far this season. So for me, I am taking this to my full advantage. But the Blues are getting ready to take on those Washington Capitals. The Capitals just came off Saturday in a shootout loss to the Buffalo Sabres. So they're coming off of an L. We're coming off of a dub. Listen, I can't brag that much considering how the Blues have done this season. However, the opportunity does allow for me to at least have some enthusiasm because it was those Edmonton Oilers that we defeated. So, being said, I feel pretty good about this. Also, the Capitals sit in last place in the Metropolitan with 13 points with 6 wins, 5 losses, and then 1 OTL. However, when you look at us, it's not like we're doing any better because we're in last place of the Central and we have 10 points, 4 wins, 7 losses, and then 2 OTL. So, again, it's not great. It's not pretty. Like, we're honestly not a good team. However, I did want to make that a point that we are coming off of a win, which we don't get to say often here on Locked On Blues, which is really a shame considering the amount of talent on paper this team has. And I find that so interesting, right? When we're talking about talent on paper, because the same can be said about those Washington Capitals. And I think for me, I look at the Capitals as a team that has some of the greats, right? And you cannot count out the Capitals without talking about Alexander Ovechkin. Ovi is one of those players that is generational, man. And you don't see a lot of players like him, and you're not going to again. So for me, it always does kind of blow my mind when the Caps don't do well, just considering. They also have Tom Wilson on the team. And it is funny though, because they did lose a lot of their talent. Like they don't have the same guys that they used to have. Um, but again, Dylan Strome. I mean, this team still has some players that are dandy, right? Kind of a little bit. Um, yeah, no. They have TVR, Trevor Van Riemsdyk. Yay. They have Marty Party. And it's so funny about Marty. He's on their first defensive pair, but when I was in college, I'm taking you back. And I first began doing my hockey podcast called Haley's Hot Take. The OGs know that's how I got involved with podcasting. He played for the Hershey Bears, and I was at West Virginia, so I wasn't too far away. So I did see him play a little bit, making that drive, and he's a very good defenseman, so happy for him. But I I don't really want to necessarily focus too much on the Capitals, right? They're home for a single game tonight. It is expected that Rasmus Sandin will return. So the Caps will have all 8 of their blue liners healthy and available tonight. Now, that was breaking news as in 14 minutes ago. So just wanted to bring that to your attention. But I'm focused on my guys in blue. Okay, listen, I love the Blues. We bleed blue. LGB, let's go blue. And the Blues have a really important game tonight, in my opinion, because this is a game where you prove to everybody, despite the fact that you beat the Oilers, you can still sustain back-to-back wins. And for the Blues, again, rarity. But what I will say is I do like the fact that they have 4 regulation wins. That to me is a positive. And listen, there's teams that don't win in regulation that have more points than us, but we do have more regulation wins than some teams. So I will say that's a positive. Anyways, tonight, coming off of the win against Oilers, there is a couple lineup changes for tonight. Nathan Walker will return on the 4th line with Alexei Turchenko and Nick Buxat. After sitting out for 1 game, Logan Mailloux does return in place of Matthew Kessel on defense. Coach said, we think it's important against a team like Washington, you have some physicality. Tom Wilson. Both of those guys bring physicality, Monty said. And we don't want guys sitting out too long. Both of them are big parts of our team this year and for the future. Now, I find it really interesting because during training camp, if you recall, Tyler Tucker, who is on that 3rd pair with Logan Mailloux, did state that he's kind of like a ratty player in a sense. And I feel like when you're going against Tom Wilson, we know that the physicality is directed at Tom Wilson. Yes, you're going to need some of your chippier guys, but it makes me laugh because Nathan Walker, he's not afraid to get into some scrums and throw hands, but he is on the smaller side. So I love that he did refer to walks in that sense, just because Nathan Walker is one of those players where you truly do see nothing but chippiness and scrappiness. I actually am looking at a few things, and I'm so sorry. This is me, the most random thing, but Louis just posted, and I got my media email that he's having a birthday party on November 14th when the Blues host the Flyers, and Gertie will be there. So my worlds do collide. We'll get back. Guys, I had to pause this just to throw that PSA in here because I did get my media email from the Blues. But going back to the Aussie, I do nonetheless love that they put him out there. But I need to see tonight Dylan Holloway step up. And that's the player, at least for me, that I need to see the most out of. Just because I feel like Holloway isn't playing like the Holloway we saw last season. So I do want to see him have himself a really good game tonight. In the last game, I did predict that Robert Thomas would score. So I feel like right now the mojo of my predictions is somewhat good. I want to talk to you about tonight's projected lineup since we did have those changes on the first line centering. It's my guy Robert Thomas. To the left, it's Bushi, and then to the right, it's Jimmy Snuggerud. On the second line centering, it's Pius Suter. To the left, on wing, it's Captain Braden Shed, and to the right, it's Ruzi Jordan Cairo. Finally, on the third line, it's my prodigy player, my center, the 20-year-old, the great, the Dalibor Dvorsky. To the left, it's Dylan Holloway, and to the right, it's Oscar Sundquist. Finally, on the fourth line, Bukstad is centering. To the left, it's Turchenko. To the right, it's the Aussie Nathan Walker. On defense, you have Philip Robert, Colton Parayko, Tyler Tucker, Justin Folk, Cam Fowler, and Logan Mailloux in net, Jordan Binnington. I do find it a little bit interesting that Fowles is playing with Mailloux again, just because I didn't think it looked good last time. But I can understand the sense of maybe needing a more veteran type of player to be alongside a Logan since he has been struggling thus far in the season. I want to talk to you about fandom. And I think this is a really interesting conversation for you and I about why you should believe, man. Why you need to have positivity even when times get tough. I know coming from me, that's kind of comical, but we are going to talk about that. But first, I want to talk to you about my friends at Rugiet. Let's be real, making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress. I'm tired. Or it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support, and that's where Rugiet comes in. Rugiet.com offers fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED, designed to help you stop making excuses and start making those moves. Rugiet makes it to get started. They make it so easy. All you have to do is connect with a board certified doctor and 100% online. So there's no awkward waiting rooms and there's no in person appointments. If prescribed, your treatment ships directly straight to your door. The process is fast, simple, and private, and it's handled by real doctors. It's about confidence, connection, and getting back the moments that matter. So visit rugiet.com/locked-on NHL to get 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com/locked-on NHL. And don't forget to use our code LOCKEDONNHL so they know we sent you. Rugiet, stop making excuses and start making moves. I think it's really apparent that we've had it kind of bad lately with the Blues, right? It's not been so fun. It's not been so hip hip hooray. It's been, you know what? This actually sucks and I am not having a good time. But what I will say is this. Right now, it is still early enough in this season where things can change. Okay? It is November 5th. You still have November, December, January, February, March, April. You get the point. You still have a lot of time, right? The season just begun like about a month ago. The Blues could realistically turn things around. And I know I've been negative. I know I've been saying the season's done. I know I've been saying time to tank for McKenna. But the reality is just like that, everything can change. And it can change for the better. And part of being a fan is going through the lows. And right now, yeah, this is a low. This is a really bad start to the season. And there's no denying that, right? We're not going to look at this and be like, "Oh yeah, no, this is good." No, like this is actually bad and embarrassing. Right now the Blues are the second to worst team in the NHL with a 385 percentage, okay? So way below 500. The Calgary Flames have 8 points, we have 10. So again, it's not looking so hot for the Blues. What I will say though is that the San Jose Sharks are above us with 11 points. And then at 29, it's those Minnesota Wild. So, and then actually at 28, it's the Chicago Blackhawks. So if you do well, then you can surpass at least two teams. The Preds right now not doing hot either, sitting at 25th overall in the NHL with 14 points. The Caps, by the way, are at 26, and we play them tonight. So that's a good thing. But the reason why I bring that up is because you can see the closeness and proximity with all the points. So if the Blues just get these wins, and I talked to you about this next stretch of games, it could change everything. And that's what you want from this team right now. I know it's early and people think I'm like actually insane for this, but you know what? I don't care. So be it. I look at our division, the Central. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is to just show you why it matters to get these wins now. The Colorado Avalanche, they're sitting number one and they have 21 points. We have 10. It's 11 points, okay, between the two teams. You have the Winnipeg Jets and the Utah Mammoth both with 18 points. You then have the Dallas Stars with 17, followed by the Preds with 14 and the Blackhawks and Wild with 13, and us with 10. So again, it is possible to catch up. But if you want to be within the top four teams, you're still trailing by 7 points. So you really need to begin putting up those wins now. And it is immediate. And when I mean immediate, like I'm not just saying this is something that needs to be done. Like this is something that needs to happen yesterday. Because right now, you're looking even at the Pacific Division, and man, they are crushing it right now. I mean, You have the Ducks with 17, the Knights with 17, the Kraken with 16, the Kings with 16, the Oilers with 16. And the reason why I bring that up is when you're thinking about playoffs and you think about the wild card spot, you do have to consider the other division in your conference and how they're doing. And right now, they're doing pretty well. Do I think the Blues are going to be a wild card team? No, they are not, especially not now. But they could be. That's when they need to get those wins. And you know what? If they lose, then tank for McKenna. I will go back to that. But I need to believe something good will happen tonight because that's what being a fan is. I love this team so much, and I am rooting for this team constantly. Every single day, the Blues consume my mind. I'm always defending the Blues. Last night, I'm watching the Flyers and Canadians broadcast, by the way. I miss you, Zach Bolduc, my king. And they were talking about the Olympics and they were talking about Jordan Binnington. And I got really ticked off because they said that Binnington wasn't good this season. Binnington is still a good goalie. It's the defense. Maybe I'm a repetitive person when I'm saying that sentence because I'm always saying that sentence, but it's the truth. He is still good. I crash out about Binnington at least once a day just because I never think that he gets the respect that he deserves and most importantly earned. There's a big difference between respect being given because it's deserved versus earned, and he has earned the respect. And for whatever reason, it's still not given to him time and time and time again. And I am sick of it. If you are a Blues fan, you need to be more vocal about the fact that this is not on Binnington because it is not on Binnington. I am telling you that. If you think that any of this is on Jordan Binnington, you need to evaluate why you think that. It is not normal for any goalie in the National Hockey League to have that in front of it, respectfully. And by that, I mean the Blues defense. Any goalie would struggle with the Blues defense. They would. And, I think about other goalies like Jake Ottinger, who I really like. He would struggle with the Blues' defense, like any goalie would. So when you're talking about Jordan Binnington, Stanley Cup champion Jordan Binnington, Four Nations face-off winner Jordan Binnington, my goalie Jordan Binnington, think about why you're saying what you're saying. Is it because you don't like him and you think he's emotional? Or is it that you just looked at the stats, the season's record, and you said, oh, his save percentage is bad, blah, 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 but yet you have failed to look at any other player on the Blues and kind of come to the conclusion that, hey, he's left out hung to dry. Just some food for thought. Because at the end of the day, you can talk all you want about Binnington. That's fine. But at least make sure you're getting your reasonings correct. Because if you're just looking at the Blues' record and you're just simply saying Jordan Binnington isn't good, okay. I'm not going to listen to your opinion, but okay. But if you're able to give me some factual statements, maybe based off of observations that you saw in games, because I can agree there's been some games that he's not been so good in. But again, try having the defense that he has and then get back to me. It is so infuriating. All right, I'm going to talk to you about my friends over at FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to fanduel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. I want to do some final predictions for tonight just because I do think tonight's game is winnable, it's manageable, and I think the Blues do have a really good potential opportunity to win. I don't say that about a lot of games, considering the fact that there's a lot of teams that are a lot better than the Blues. But we do have Jimmy Snuggerud, by the way, who is in running right now for the Calder Trophy. So that's really good news to me. However, I still believe it is possible for the Blues to win, right? The Blues have played the Capitals six times since the 22-23 season. They have a 4-2-0 record, and this was by Blues Muse, and I think that they're going to do really well tonight. Obviously, when you're going up against Alexander Ovechkin, I do predict and I do foresee him to do well tonight. I think, too, is that I think when I said about Dylan Holloway, I do think it's going to be a high scoring game. I don't think it's going to be one of those games where it's going to be low scoring by any means, just because of the pure fact that you're playing against two teams that are not as solid right now. And that is completely okay. And that's understandable. I mean, why would it be a low scoring game when, well, you know, it wouldn't be. But it does seem like the Blues are going to at least have some opportunity. Montgomery spoke about Dvorsky getting confidence and said, I think I'm already seeing it out there. In today's practice, he let two backhanders go right on the goal line that hit the crossbar on tough plays. Both sequences were on 2-and-1s, and I just whispered to myself, those are great hands. So we're just getting to see a little bit of what he's going and where he's going to become. So again, there's a lot of positivity heading into tonight's game. And I do feel like with that positivity right now that the Blues have, they need to take full advantage of it. I want Robert Thomas to score another goal. I want Dvorsky. And I think Dvorsky's going to score tonight. I do. So I think it's going to be Holloway, Dvorsky. I think a Thomas with an assist. Do we get a Snuggie goal tonight, maybe? Maybe. Ovi's definitely scoring. You can't say that he's not going to. It's Alexander Ovechkin. Are you kidding me? He could run laps around this team just himself on the ice. Yeah. So it could be 1-5 hockey, and he would still absolutely dominate. So all things said and done, as much as I'll make jokes and whatever, I am still thinking the Blues are going to win. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. So give me like a 6-5 OT win. I know, oh my God, we're going to go to overtime, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, because it's going to be a high scoring game. I could be completely wrong, but I usually am a little bit right when it comes to my predictions. By a little bit, it's usually very accurate. So that's what I'm thinking. 6-5 OT win. It's going to be a high scoring game. We're going to see both defenses kind of collapse. Marty Party, sorry, but if you're on the first pair, I don't know how I feel about that. But again, it's not like we're any better. So I will talk to you all tomorrow. And like always, let's go Blues.